Okay, so without the rancor or anger, to continue on what Dutton was saying about what we know about the psychic traits of the liberal versus the conservative, one of the things about the liberal that is particularly good is a sense of open-mindedness. This is actually, there's no way around that this was one of the greatest benefits to Europe. Because Europeans basically started looking for ideas that were foreign and would also merge ideas. Now, while people might say, "Oh, well, look at Persia did that," like look at Christianity itself and its Syriac, the Syria Egypt was a Coptic, Copto, Syrio. Greco merging of ideas, and it's like, yeah, but all those people were notably by, especially like even the Hebrew people write about the Romans and the Greeks being known as Edom, as a reference to hairy-bodied people with red hair. And that this was known. This was an absolute known, and now we're finding the genetics to even show that no, the Mediterranean was inhabited by a lot of red-haired people. There were like large populations of them. And now this is known. Genomics is showing that the red-haired people were widely spread out throughout the Mediterranean before the Arabs and Islam took it over. This is why everybody gets the Middle East stuff wrong, is they won't deal with the fact that Arabia is like 800 miles from the Mediterranean. So it's just they're not getting, like, we would think of this as another continent in some cases. So these people who end up coming from the Mediterranean and north, and to some degree, you get this to some portions of the ancient world eastward, and near Asia, as sometimes it will be referred to, you end up getting these people who are open-minded. That even though, for all these other traits and stuff, they were very open-minded. Like, so say as opposed to, somebody would be like, as opposed to, as compared to what? Say compared to people who would be isolated in mountain country. Like, they have no reason to include outside ideas. They're also very hard to access. So outside ideas are not going to as likely get to them, and the ideas that get to them won't be as valuable or have the context. They won't have like 5 people to explain an idea. They'll only have like 2, because only 2 people could make it into mountain country. And then also mountain country tends to produce groups of people who reproduce in rather small clans. So you start to get clannishness, where it's, if somebody is from outside of your clan, they go after them. So because of the isolated nature of so many different groups of people, this is something that actually a lot of people don't really realize. That is a trait that's still a part of a lot of people. Like kind of having this way of forming a small clan of some sort, and then defending just that group. Where then you get these people who sailed around the world who included ideas everywhere they went. They took ideas and used them differently and creatively. That's a bred for trait. That I know people think that genius creativity is just universal and but that it's not. And we know this because we find stuff that traveling peoples would leave in other parts of the world that were not adopted. Like Chinese wheel-like anchors that obviously at some point the Chinese fleets made their way to Egypt, but sub-Saharan Africa did not have the wheel and it didn't have what a great guy. He's really cool. He's a good neighbor. They didn't have the wheel and axles. Incas had wheels and axles, but only on toys, because they had no beast of burden to draw a cart. So, and I mean, we even know that there was the revolution of the wheeled chariot in the Middle East. Sharing, this is the thing that's good about the creatives and kind of the liberals, is that they are creative and they like creative ideas, and that is inherently and pretty fundamentally good, and so that's why I want to make sure to yeah, because I don't like what made me see through the liberals. What made me, I'm trying to go backwards to some degree. What made me suddenly see through it all? Or the key things that I started to understand that made me see through that it's like, no, the way some portion of the liberals are fundamentally kind of representing their ideas or representing stuff in a way that it's like this isn't even helping the liberals get what they want. It's not answering some of their most pressing problems that are now generational. Like what to do with your life. How do I feel the feeling of happy rather than not happy? All these things that concern just the human at its essence, and that the liberal tradition is not helping with that. Otherwise, liberals would be exceedingly kind of boring. They would just be content. They would go to work, get married, have kids. We'd never hear from them. They'd be conservative.